Hello and welcome to a very special episode of the Cheltenham Roar, brought to you by PriceUp.bet and oddschecker, as we look ahead to the Christmas racing, a packed schedule at Kempton, at Leopardstown, at Chepstow, and we're here to run you through all of it. I'm your host, George Ellick, and I'm delighted to be joined by Steve Ryder and by Priced Up ambassador Stephen Power, the racing blogger, the only man more popular than Ollie Pope in Australia right now. Have you recovered from your exploits out there?
I have indeed, mate. Yeah, the jet lag's well gone.
I think we need to get you on the phone to Ben Stokes to tell him how you can navigate a few weeks in Australia, because right now it's not looking good.
Yeah, it's not at all, is it?
No, it's not.
Game over.
Hopefully by the time people are watching this in a couple of days, maybe we've won the test match, it'll be very different.
Yeah.
Steve, how are you doing?
I'm very well, thank you. Yeah, looking forward to the Christmas action.
Great stuff. Now we've got loads to get through. We are recording this on Thursday, the 18th of December, so this is a very early look. It's obviously ahead of decks for plenty of the races. A lot of the races at Kempton not yet priced up. So what we're going to do is we are going to start off with a big King George preview. We're then going to talk about other horses we're excited to see at Kempton. We're going to have a quick chat with Andy Holding, who can't be here today, but we've beamed him in for 5 minutes or so. And then we're going to go through the grade ones that are priced up at Leopardstown before finishing off with a Welsh National preview. So it's going to be a whistle-stop tour. And let's kick off with the King George, where Gaelic Warrior is the 15-8 favourite with priced up Factor File, best price in the market, 5-2. Django Bay is 3-1. The Jukebox Man 6-1, 10-1. Jello, Il est Francais 20-1, 16-1. Banbridge and 28-1. Barvos. Blogsy, we'll come to you first. Who's going to win the King George?
What a race!
What a race! Yeah,
what a race!
Renewal.
Delighted to see the King of Limerick has forced Willie's hand and running Factor File. It's really added a lot of spice to the race, a lot of oomph. It's my birthday, so hopefully I can back a winner as well. Hence the name Stephen, St. Stephen's Day.
Ah, love it.
I've been there for the last 12 years in a row, so it's one of the highlights of the year for me, and I'm looking forward to the race. I think it's a pure rematch on paper. Gaelic Warrior versus Factor File again. I can't have the Jukebox Man for love nor money. I don't think he's in the class of the front two in the betting. I think Django Bay is completely overrated. I thought he won a terrible Arkle when Madgeborough just walked through the last two fences. If I had to have a bet at this stage without knowing the likelihood of the ground, I'd be sticking with Gaelic Warrior. I think the race is tailor-made for him. I think he's improving. I think his win last year at Aintree, where he beat Grey Dawning, was absolutely sensational. He hacked round, quickened up, proved he stays. Still don't understand how he got beat off a 129 at Cheltenham a few years ago. That was unbelievable. But it's going to be a hell of a race. Factor File looked like the second coming when he won the Ryanair, and he's since been beaten twice. So maybe he's got a few vulnerabilities, but for me, I think Gaelic Warrior is the one to beat, and I love the fact that Factor File's in there, because it now means Gaelic's around 3-1, which means there's more value for me.
15-8 with priced up now, right. But as you say, I think if you watch the way the market's going, you'll probably get bigger in the coming days.
Yeah, absolutely.
But yeah, Gaelic Warrior, the favourite currently still with priced up, and bloggers selection here for King George. How do you see it, Steve?
I think tactics are going to be fascinating. How would you want Gaelic Warrior ridden? Would you want him from the front like in the John Durkan, or held up like he was
bang up with the pace? I love front runners at Kempton. It's one of the sharpest tracks in the country. Suits front runners down to a T. I think him and Factor File will literally just be going toe to toe from the offset. And I think passing the post on the first circuit, they'll be 1 and 2. Turning into the back straight, I think they'll be stretching clear already. It's a bit of a bold statement, but I think these two are genuine 170 horses, and I can't see the rest living with them.
Yeah, it's interesting you touch on ratings. Like, I think they're 174, 175, and the likes of Jello are 164. So I think the Jukebox Man is only mid-150s. So that they are obviously progressing, but they have got that £10 to find at least on ratings with them. My concern with backing Gaelic Warrior would be, number one, how hard that race probably was in the John Durkan, and number two is he's not going to get an uncontested lead. You've got the likes of the Jukebox Man in there. Il est Francais, I assume, will go back to front-running tactics. That race at Ascot was fascinating. We reviewed it afterwards, and I was fairly negative on Django Bay because I thought the race completely set up for him. Gidley Park took on Il est Francais and picked Dorian, set it up for a closer. But I think the same thing might happen here. You'll have Il est Francais, you'll have the Jukebox Man, you'll have Gaelic Warrior. They'll all be up there, and I think this could suit a closer like the year that Hewick won, and I thought Django Bay would be one that would be well suited by that. I think they may well ride Factor File a little bit more quietly with all that pace in there as well. But if you go through some of the others, I don't particularly like the Jukebox Man either. His tendency to shift left when he has to correct himself at a fence would put me off around Kempton. If you look back at the form of that Quarto Star last year, the form is worth absolutely nothing. And I thought last time at Haydock he was pretty much gifted.
I mean, he's beaten Highland, Iroko and Mazakiko.
Exactly.
What's he beaten?
Yeah. Jello, I'm not quite convinced that he's going to make up that £10 really. And yeah, I'd be with Django Bay. Banbridge, it's fascinating. He's literally just come out now that Sean Bowen's been booked for the ride and he's going to have a first-time visor. 2 from 2 at Kempton, but he hasn't looked the same horse since his win in this last year. If you look at it, he was beaten 43 lengths at Cheltenham, 47 lengths at Punchestown, and on both of those occasions, he got the ground that he should have liked. If you look at RPRs, he was given 170 in the Hilly Way last year prior to his run in this. He was given 140 this year. He's beaten 29 lengths. Like, I don't think he's coming into it in the same form. And for me, the first-time headgear sparks of a bit of desperation. So Django Bay, for me, I think the race will set up perfectly for him. I know exactly what you're saying around the Arkle form, but I do think he's going to be a strong stayer at the trip, and I thought it might just fall into his lap.
A Christmas cracker.
Yeah, Django Bay 3-1 with priced up. Banbridge 16-1, but as Steve says, probably a bit of a leap of faith being taken, even if you're going to take that double-figure price. Right, we're going to crack into a bit more Kempton chat in just a second, but before that, I had the chance to catch up with the man, the myth, the legend, Andy Holding, who couldn't be here with us today to get his thoughts on the King George and other festive treats. Yeah, Andy, thank you for taking the time to your busy schedule to join us. Sad you're not with us in the studio, but we've heard there, unsurprisingly, Blogger fancies the favourite. He's back in Gaelic Warrior. Django Bay for Steve. Who's your fancy at this stage for the King George?
Yeah, I think it's fascinating, isn't it, that we could get both Willie Mullins trained horses over here. We didn't think that Factor File would be a possibility, but if he does come over, it's going to make into a mouth-watering race. I mean, we've got floaters as well, such as the Jukebox Man and Jello as well. Last year's winner, potentially, Banbridge and LA Francais. So hopefully we might get some each-way betting. Maybe there might be 8 runners or more. We do, of course, all live in a fantasy land where that might happen. But yeah, I'm a big fan of Django Bay, George. I always have been, really, to be honest. Fully paid up member of his fan club based on his Arkle victory last season. An unexpected one as well, as it was. Coming down the hill, we never thought that he'd be A, involved in the finish, and B, go on to win it. But the form as it stands has worked out really well. The Arkle has stood the test. We've seen with the likes of Marlborough and the Skelton horse that went on to win the Sir Chase, and only by night as well. Of course, won first time out as well last season. And the way he stayed on, he always looked as though he was going to be a much better horse over further. That didn't quite transpire at Aintree on his final run of the season. But as we saw at Ascot on his reappearance, he was absolutely brilliant that day. At the time, a lot of Nicky's horses weren't quite, let's say, firing on all cylinders, but he certainly was. They were at a really good pace. I know it was only a small field, but there was no hiding place. Gidley Park took them along at a real good gallop, really stretched the likes of Pic D'Oreille and, of course, LA Francais. LA Francais actually waved the white flag. Did he come out at the back straight? The pace was that strong. And Django Bay picked up the baton going down to the last, strode majestically clear, won by 9 lengths in a sensational time figure, the best of his career, and the best as well that we've got so far on the time figures, both over hurdles and over jumps, over fences this season by a mile. It was a much more stronger run race than the John Durkan, believe it or not, even though visually it looked as though Gaelic Warrior was setting a helter-skelter pace. Actually, the time figure wasn't as good as it might have been. So I'm not sort of pouring cold water on Gaelic Warrior or Factor File, but as it stands at the moment, the figures they've run so far this season over the intermediate trip of 2.5 miles, Django Bay definitely stands out. And, of course, we know he's got the potential to be even better over further. You look at Factor File. Yes, he does stay 3 miles, but does he stay 3 miles to the standard that he does over 2.5? Like the Ryanair was his standout performance last season, 2.5. The John Durkan again, 2.5. He's just been found wanting over 3 miles. Look, he's run to a fair level, but I don't really have the confidence of him staying a truly run 3 miles round Kempton as much as I do the potential of Django Bay improving for 3 miles. So I think the price for Django Bay here of 7-2 currently, as we speak, is a really, really good bit of business, and that's where I'm going.
Great stuff, yeah. Andy and Steve in agreement, therefore, in the King George with Django Bay taking their fancies. We're going to let you get back to your busy schedule in a second, Andy. But before we do, anything else that you're looking at? Whether it's we haven't got price of Kempton, but
No.
Anything at Kempton or at Leopardstown or anywhere over the course of Christmas?
Well, I thought I'd put up horses that I think could be value in their respective races that we can actually have a bet on and look at the fields and try and work out what might run. I put up a horse of Johnny Flavin's last season in the Paddy Power Chase, and he only just got run out of it by Percival de Galois, and that was Midnight Our Fred, who was one of my strongest fancies actually of last year's Cheltenham Festival, if you recall. I really fancied him for the Kim Muir, and he run like inexplicably badly for some reason. He's a very consistent horse. You look at his data; he's hardly ever been out the frame. He got a good Cheltenham record. I thought the Kim Muir was very much his for the taking, and like I say, for some reason he just put in a career low and he was pulled up. But I did notice that Connections gave him a nice little spin the other day over hurdles around Cork, and he was in the line to win that day. He made the run in, but he made a bad mistake at the second last, and in the end he ended up sort of giving his chance away and finishing second. But I don't think it was a bad run under the circumstances. It's likely to have put a nice little edge on him. I like it when Irish trainers run their respective chases when they've targeted at the big race, when they run him over hurdles. They want to try and keep their powder dry for their chase mark. So it looks as though that Connections have very much got the Paddy Power Chase on their rangefinder, and currently he's around about a 16-1 shot. So I definitely want to throw a message out there for Midnight Our Fred. Talking of handicap chases as well over this side of the Irish Sea, the Welsh National is run 2 days after Christmas Day, of course. And Gipmaker is one that I quite like here. Again, similar to Midnight Our Fred, he had a spin over hurdles the other day at Lingfield when he finished third behind Icarac. He wasn't overly punished that day over 2 mile 7. But he's got a really good couple of runs under his belt over longer trips. He's run well over 3.5 miles before. And of course, 2 years ago, he finished a creditable third in the Scottish Grand National over 4 miles. Soft ground's not a problem for him. He's won at Chepstow as well, which I think is very important, albeit over hurdles. And the yard's in great form, Jamie Snowden. So I think Gipmaker will go well. And looking at the Savills Chase, if we presume that both Gaelic Warrior and Factor File come over this side of the Irish Sea running the King George, I actually think this race is sort of going to open up for a potential for one to sneak in at a big price. Obviously, we've got Galopin de Champ defending his crown. He's likely to go for a very short price favourite, but it is his first run of the season. If he is vulnerable, it might well be first time out because he usually comes here off the back of a run in the John Durkan. I know the way you're thinking ran okay in the race last year, but he wasn't quite cherry ripe. And this is very much going to be a stepping stone towards the Gold Cup. So if you take those two out of the equation at their respective prices, I think Champ Kylie's a big price here, George. He had a spin the other day over 2 miles at Naas when he just got touched off by Only By Night. But don't forget he beat the good horse of Willie Mullins' last season. I can't remember his name. Ballyburn. He beat Ballyburn over 3 mile 1 in a Grade 1 at Punchestown. And that's really a good piece of form. So it proved that he stays 3 miles really well. He goes well at Leopardstown. And if Danny Mullins rides him, which might well be the case, because I presume Paul Town will ride Galopin de Champ, I certainly don't mind Danny Mullins on my side riding the second string of Willie Mullins. He's currently available back around about 14-1.
12-1, I think is, yeah.
12-1. I think it'd be single figures on the day. And Willie doesn't mind running 1 or 2 in that race as well. I don't think there's going to be any other race that Champ Kylie can run in because he's got plenty of options, Willie, for the 2 mile race. So yeah, I got a sneaky feeling Champ Kylie could end up being a nice bit of value. So those would be my festive 4, the festive Yankee, whichever way you want to look at it. My nap would be Django Bay and the King George. We then have Midnight Our Fred and the Paddy Power Chase, 16-1. Around about 8-1 for Geekmaker, and Champ Kylie 12-1 a speculator in the Savills Chase.
Brilliant stuff. Thank you, Andy, as ever, for joining us, albeit beaming in. Time to get back to the guys now as we look ahead to Leopardstown. Yeah, plenty of races priced up at Leopardstown over the Christmas period that we'll get onto in just a second. We'll await declarations at Kempton, but one horse blogger who I think we know is going to be turning up, hopefully, fingers crossed, all being well, the first time we'll see Sir Gino since the 27th of December 2024, so exactly a year after we last saw him. What are your thoughts on Sir Gino?
He's back. Gino's back. I think the fact that Nicky Henderson, who's one of the most careful trainers of a racehorse you'll ever find, is pitching him straight into a Grade 1 after his severe health difficulties. That shows he's steaming up the gallops in Lambourn. He's 6 from 6. He's one of the most exciting horses we've seen in the last 15 years, in my opinion. I thought that win against Ballyburn in the Wayward Lad was absolutely unbelievable. Sure, Ballyburn probably needs further, and as it turns out, he probably had a bit of a kink in his back and his jumping isn't that good over fences. But his win in the Fighting Fifth was absolutely electric. I think if he comes out and wins the Christmas hurdle, what's he up against? Probably about 145 to 150 horses. He'll probably hose in by 10 and be 6 to 4 for the champion hurdle. So if you fancy him, you'd want to get on now.
And how much, Steve, do you think Nicky needs this? It's been a tough few months, obviously, with what's happened with Constitution Hill. Nico as well, he's come under a lot of criticism for what's gone on, like for the yard, for the story ahead of Cheltenham. How important is this going to be?
It is going to be important. You always have these cycles of your old Grade 1 performers going by the wayside and the nice exposed novices coming through, the likes of Old Park Star and Active Innocence are coming through as progressive novice hurdlers as well. But Sir Gino could be the real poster boy of the jump season. For me, I wouldn't entertain backing him until we've seen him on a racecourse. It wasn't that he had a setback, like the horse nearly died. It takes a lot to come back from that. I understand completely what bloggers saying around you're going to pitch him straight into Grade 1 company, but it does look as if it's going to be a weaker renewal. It's going to be interesting to see if Anzadam comes over, obviously came over for the Fighting Fifth, is in the same silks, the Donnellys. But outside of him, I don't really see a lot that could really trouble him. Obviously, it's difficult at the time here. We haven't even got entries, let alone declarations. No. But yeah, I'm hoping that he wins by half the track and can be the real poster boy for the season.
3 to 1, we're priced up for the champion hurdle. So, I mean, you'd probably rather, if you are right, you'd probably rather take the 6 to 4. I've actually seen him win, wouldn't you? Rather than
yeah, I mean, I wouldn't be backing him at this stage, but the one thing I know about Nicky Henderson is he's just an absolute genius, and he would never risk a horse unless he's 110%. And the fact he's going into a Grade 1 suggests to me this horse is flying up the gallops, and I've heard from certain people in Lambourn he is, so there's a lot of confidence there. They can't see him being beat.
It is interesting though, like everyone remembers Sprinter Sacra bouncing back to win that Champion Chase, but you forget about the couple of starts that he had before that, obviously pulled up in the Champion Chase the year before, so it did take a year or so to get him fully, well, I don't think he ever came back, but back to that sort of level, it's going to be bold with Sir Gino at that age to try and have him cherry ripe for his return. So I do think it is going to be fascinating.
I mean, it's incredible. He's still only 5 years old. He's such a baby.
Yeah, amazing. Yeah. Anyone else? As Steve says, we don't have entries. We just have horses that we can theorise are probably going to turn up. We know with Sir Gino because of Nicky's told us that is the plan. Anyone else you're looking forward to seeing at Kempton over the course of Christmas?
I don't know what's going to line up in the Wayward Lad. Tricky at this stage without seeing any entries. I'm just really focused on the King George and seeing Sir Gino. I'm going to be there at Kempton on the day. I'm going to drive straight to Wales on the same night to go to Chepstow for the Welsh Grand National. And then after the Welsh National, I'm going to go straight to Bristol Airport and fly to Ireland, to Dublin, get on the Guinness for the night, and then go to Leopardstown for the Savills and for the December hurdle, and then go racing at Punchestown, come back to Bristol and spend New Year's in Cheltenham, and then go racing in Cheltenham on New Year's Day.
I do not understand how you have the energy and the liver. Steve, anything else you're looking forward to?
Not Kempton, no. I like having a look at races that we've got the entries in. So, Leopardstown and the Welsh National are more up my street.
Cool. Well, let's go on to Boxing Day at Leopardstown then. We're going to start with the Novice Chase, the Racing Post Novice Chase, where Romeo Coolio is the 8 to 13 favourite ahead of Salvatore Mundi at 4 to 1, July Flower 5 to 1, Irish Panthers 8 to 1. Cargase is 16 to 1, 25 to 1, bar those. These are best prices on oddschecker at time of recording, but priced up. We'll be looking to price these up and boost some of the guys' selections as well over the course of the next couple of days. So if you haven't got a price up account, make sure you go and sign up for one. Loads of markets up there, and there's a price boosts page where you can find plenty of boosts across different sports every single day of racing. I'm looking at it now. There's loads across the Card Exeter today, loads of Europa League boosts tonight, Reading Luton even boosted up there too. So make sure you sign up for a priced up account if you haven't already. But back to the Racing Post Novice Chase. Steve, how do you see this? Not a bad each way betting opportunity as it stands, with a fifth, a 3 and an odds-on favourite. That
is true. I'd just be with Romeo Coolio though. I've been really impressed with him. I expect him to beat the likes of Salvatore Mundi and July Flower in this. Obviously he had good novice hurdle form, 3rd in the Supreme, 2nd at Aintree behind Salvatore Mundi. But he is progressed over fences so far. Yes, I know that both of his starts have been over 2.5 miles, but he looks faster switched to fences. You need to also bear in mind that when they go novice chasing, they jump more obstacles than what they do over hurdles. If you look at the card where he won the Drinmore in comparison to the Hatton's Grace, they jumped 15 in the Drinmore and they jumped, I think, 10 hurdles in the Hatton's Grace. And I just think his ability to jump at pace is his real asset. Got a jump index of 8.2 in the Drinmore, hasn't made a mistake so far. Obviously, the first day over fences, they took half of them out that day at Down Roar, but I've been really impressed with him. I think he'll win this comfortably, and then Connections will have the choice of where they're going to go at the Cheltenham Festival. I think the Arkle could be the race of the whole festival. If Kopek de Board, who's obviously missing this through an injury, comes back and wins the Irish Arkle at the DRF, you have Lalamba winning his next start in the UK. I think he's either going to head to the Game Spirit or the Kingmaker at Warwick. So if you've got Kopek de Board coming in unbeaten, you've got Lalamba coming in unbeaten, and you also have Romeo Coolio coming in unbeaten. Gordon generally misses the DRF, comes to Christmas, misses the DRF and goes to Cheltenham. If you've got all those three coming in unbeaten, I think it's going to be the race of the festival.
That's what we live for.
Yeah, currently the Arkle on priced up. We've got Lalamba, the 13-8 favourite, ahead of Kopek de Board at 9-4, Romeo Coolio 130. How do you see this?
I echo what Steve said. I was one of the people who were quite lucky to get a few quid on Romeo Coolio at around 2-1. So me and a few mates are licking our lips for Boxing Day already. Yeah. It looks a formality. I was lucky enough to be at Gordon's for the last few years, and I've seen Romeo Coolio up close and personal. Without sounding too cliche, he's one of those horses that we're always going to be a chaser. He's a massive stamp of a horse, a beautiful Cave Tara, and he was so impressive what he done in the Drinmore. I think this is a formality. Salvatore Monday to me is a complete, abnormality. I can't work the horse out for love nor money. He seems to do what he wants, and I know Willie's are taking a run, but I can't forgive that performance getting beat first time out. I think Romeo will go straight to the front. Like Steve said, I think he's improved for jumping. I think he'll go ping, ping, ping and win by 10 lengths easy. This is probably one of the Christmas bankers for me. July Flower, she's a lovely mare for Henry de Bromhead, but I'd say she'd probably be £20 below Romeo Coolio at his best. I expect him to win easily and hopefully get to Cheltenham and face the big two. It'll be some race.
Romeo Coolio doing cartwheels from the lads there in the first race we're covering at Leopardstown. Now for the Paddy's Reward Club Chase, where Majborough is the 9-4 joint favourite with Marine National. 5-1 Founder 50, 7-1 Dino Blue, 12-1 Solness and Only by the Night. Energamine 16-1, 20-1 bar those. Steve, come to you first here. Where do you see the value at this stage?
I see this as a match between Marine National and Marlborough. Marine National obviously missed his intended prep in the Four-Trier Chase on account of the ground. It was obviously postponed on the Saturday and then ran on the Monday, and Barry Connell just didn't want to run on ground that had been chewed up the day previously. Obviously the horse is okay on soft ground, but is better on better ground. It's just his record at Leopardstown that would slightly worry me around Marine National. Obviously with that impressive winner of a beginner's chase there, but since has been beaten in 3 Grade 1s at the track, and Leopardstown, I think, will bring out the best in Marlborough. I know a lot of people...
Jumping?
But jumping left-handed on a right-handed track is never going to work.
No.
I don't actually think... I went back and watched it, and I got a bit of stick for it. But he doesn't actually lose any momentum at his fences. He's not the best jumper, no, technique-wise.
Yeah.
And yes, that may well take energy out of him later on in the race, but... The only thing that I saw that he did wrong, bar the second last, was jump left-handed. Going back to Leopardstown, that performance in the Irish Arkle last year at the DRF was brilliant, and I think we're going to see that again. I don't think you're going to get around 2-1 on him for the remainder of the season. I think he's going to win this and win this comfortably.
Yeah, 9-4 best price as it stands at the moment around Marlborough.
Just as well, before like a lot of Willie Mullins at the minute, he's had a lot beaten at odds on. Yeah. They're all coming on for the run as well. And it's rare that you have a Willie Mullins horse actually have the benefit of race fitness over a rival. Normally it's Gordon's that have been out earlier, and you're trying to weigh up between arguably Willie having the better horse, but Gordon's having the race fitness. This time, Willie Mullins' horse is going to have the benefit of a run, and to me, the better form at the track in comparison to Barry Connell's Marine National, whose big target is going to be in March.
That's music to my ears because I've had my biggest anti-post bet of the year on him to win the Champion Chase at 6-1. Majborough.
And is that, so presumably that's who you're siding with here as well?
Absolutely. Listen, as we all know, Willies are all taking a run. As Steve said, he's going to have race fitness on his side. He'll be sharper. Marine National beating his last 3 at Leopardstown. Barry O'Connell is a phenomenal trainer at getting horses ready for a target race. You know, for a small string size, he really is incredible at what he's doing. But I think Madgeborough just needs to be woken up. He can be really lazy with his jumping. What he done in the Arkle last year was a complete travesty. He threw the race away. It was disgusting, to be fair. But I think he'll learn a lot from getting beat last time out, and I think he'll be winning at Leopardstown. I think he'll probably be 2-1 fab for the Champion Chase afterwards. So if you fancy him, I'd be taking that 6-1 now.
Yeah, 5-1 we're priced up as it stands at the moment. 6-1 best price in the market. About Margeborough, which, as you say, if this goes the way that you guys seem to think it will, that will be a distant memory after the race on the 27th there. Right, on to the future champions, Novice Hurdle. Le Divin Enfant with a scintillating first performance for Willie Mullins last time out. Definitely one that didn't need a run for Willie. 3-1 favourite here with Love Me Tender 7-2. Sortudo is 9-1, 6-1 Skylight Hurdle, and Cocktail Brute is 8-1, 10-1 bar those. Blogsy, how do you see this?
A complete guessing game. Willie's got the front three in the betting. We don't know who's going to run at this stage. We don't know much about most of the horses. The only one I do like at this stage is Love Me Tender, who won at Tipperary last time out. Won really nicely, but besides that, not a race I'm going to have a bet in, and not a race I've really got an opinion on, to be fair.
Lovely stuff. Nice and easy. Steve?
I thought looking back at the trainers' records in this race is quite interesting. Willie Mullins has won it a record 7 times, including with Hurricane Fly, Appreciate It and Facile Vega, but has also won it with horses that weren't stable stars. Long Dog, Saturnus, Whiskey Sour, Aramon. But if you look at the horses that Gordon Elliott has won it with, they've been his supreme horses. So you've got Abracadabras, Mighty Potter, Caldwell Potter and Romeo Coolio. So I thought this was more of a target for Gordon as it was for Willie Mullins. And if you look at both Skylight Hustle and Cocktail Brute, I was more taken with Cocktail Brute with his 2 wins over hurdles. Reversed bumper form with Cole Cannon, beat him by 9 lengths on his hurdling debut, and then won the Royal Bond at Fairyhouse last time. But on both occasions, he's made all keen in front. And I'm convinced that he's going to be a better horse in a better race when getting a lead. So I thought around 8-1. I thought he was probably the bet. I probably wouldn't back him anti-post, just given that Willie has 6 or 7, and obviously Gordon has the option of running a few in here as well. But Cocktail Brute at the prices currently would be the one I'd be with. Cocktail
Brute 8-1 as it stands, best price with across the board on oddschecker there. We've got the Faheen Novice Chase now, where Final Demand is heavy odds on here, 3-on to win the race. Head of Oscar's brother, the big Westerner, Jimmy DeSoyle, Kit's Bull, and Predator's Gold. It's not an amazing betting heat for that reason. If you've got any fancy, say, but otherwise we expect to see Final Demand win this.
Absolutely. Frankie's claims for the Brown Advisory. Looks a serious horse. I think Paul Townend was quite upset with himself with the ride he gave the horse last year behind the new line. He should have made more use of him. He came back in and said that. So, listen, I expect him to jump off in front, stretch them out, and this is going to be a hell of a horse for next year. You know, he could be a Gold Cup horse, the king in waiting to gallop into Champs. So, yeah, we should see him win and win easy, and not a very competitive racing behind, and should be an easy cakewalk.
Yeah, Final Demand currently 5-4 for the Brown Advisory. That's with priced up, best price and oddschecker as well. Steve?
No, I'm not inclined to take on Final Demand. I think he'll win this and win the Brown Advisory. So if you can get any sort of win this race and follow up in the Brown Advisory, I wouldn't put anyone off that. I think people are going to look at Oscar's brother's Grade 2 win last time and think that he's the biggest danger. But if you look back, Rocky's Diamond was the big market rival in that day and ran no sort of race at all. So I think he'll probably be overestimated based on that run, and I expect Final Demand to win this comfortably.
I think one of the things with Final Demand, he was one of the few horses for Willie to actually go out and win on seasonal debut, and not just win, beat a 145 horse senseless. I mean, it was quite impressive, to be fair.
Right, so Final Demand should have a good day at Limerick then on the 28th. Back to Leopardstown we go, to the Christmas hurdle now. Ballyburn is the 10-11 favourite, ahead of Tiapu at 5-2. Bob Ollinger 11-2, home by the lead 8-1 alongside the Yellow Clay. 16-1 bar those, a more competitive race to get our teeth into here. Blogs, we put forward a couple of odds on favourites already. Are you boom or bust with Ballyburn?
This is the banker of the Christmas period. It won't be beat.
Will not be beaten.
He will not be beaten. They've ironed out his problems with his back. He's making a far better shape jumping hurdles than he was fences. I don't think we'll ever see him go back over a fence. They rode him to learn a lot about him in the Hatton's Grace. and he got messed around by one of Gordon's second strings who were kind of hemming him in, turning for home. I think he made up about 6.5 lengths on Tiapu, who may be a bit of an idle horse when he hits the front, but I'll tell you what, he'll be reversing that form with Tiapu, and come the day, if you can get 11 to 10 or even money, I'll be on track and I'll be ploughing in. He'll go solid favourite for the Stayers Hurdle after that.
Yeah, currently favourite for the Stayers, 9 to 4 ahead of Tiapu at 3 to 1, 10 to 1 bar. Steve, are you team Ballyburn as well?
No, I'm team Tiapu.
Yeah,
I couldn't disagree any further. Yes. I understand if you watch the last 2 hurdles of that race, I can completely understand why you think Ballyburn would reverse that form going up in trip. But we do know things around these horses. We know that Ballyburn is keen throughout his races. He didn't lift his head up off the grass for a mile in that contest, and I just worry about him going a slower pace over 3 miles. In that 2.5 mile contest, the Hatton's Grace, Tiapu was basically flat out the whole way, whereas Ballyburn was pulling for his head. I think going a slower pace at 3 miles, I think will suit Tiapu, who's a proper stayer. If they did 3.5 mile Grade 1 hurdles, he'd be running in those, whereas Ballyburn, I would worry about how he settles. I know Willie said that they might ride him differently, but if you look back at his win in the DRF a couple of years ago, he was still keen out in front, and I just worry about his finishing effort over that trip. The concern, I suppose, around Tiapu is he normally goes Hatton's Grace straight to the Stayers. So they're doing something differently, and he's never raced at Leopardstown in his career. And you do get horses that don't like Leopardstown for some reasons. That would be the slight concern. I'd be more inclined to back Tiapu for the Stayers now as opposed to for this race, but I can't have the price discrepancy between the two in this. Bob Ollinger is going to make his reappearance, obviously reigning Stayers Hurdle winner. He's 0 from 3 at Leopardstown, and I think this is going to be a stepping stone. So I do see it between the big two. If they were 11 to 8 each of 2, I could understand the case being made for Ballyburn, but they're not. One's odds on and one's... What price is Tiapu on there?
5 to 2.
Yeah, that's too big. Going up to 3 miles.
Would you not give Ballyburn a bit more credit knowing that Willies are taking a run? And considering how most of the string have underperformed, he didn't.
Yeah, but I would be inclined to say, OK, the horse was keen on its reappearance for the first time for that, switching back to hurdles. I do think Gordy's second and third strings did kind of get in the way of Ballyburn.
Yeah.
But this is a horse that's still keen, 3rd, 4th, 5th run of his campaign, and I do worry for him that he's just going to be too keen, dropped to the 3 mile trip.
Yeah, I mean, I've got a long-standing relationship with Tiapu. I'm still mentally scared.
Jack, come back.
Yeah, come back. I'm still scarred from last year, so he's kind of off my Christmas card list at the moment. Right. But I've always been one of those huge believers in Ballyburn from the day of the Ballymore win and whatnot. And things haven't really gone to shape for him, but I think he did have a few issues with his back, and I think we could be looking at a horse who's going to win the next few Stayers Hurdles over the next few years. I think they've ironed it out, and there's a lot of confidence from Close Sutton, put it that way. So. Yeah.
A former Stayers winner against a future one, according to Blogsy. Pick your fighter there. If you believe in Blogger, you want the 10 to 11 about Ballyburn. If you're with Steve, you want the 5 to 2 about Tiapu, in what should be a cracking match at Leopardstown on the 28th, the Sunday. Also on the card there, we have the Savills Chase, where Galopin de Champs is the 2 to 1 joint favourite with I Know the Way You're Thinking. Fast or Slow, 4 to 1. Factor File in here at 5 to 1. Champ Keeley, 14 to 1, 16 to 1 bar. Those Gaelic Warrior and Factor File both in here, despite the fact they're all, likely to be taking up their entries at Kempton on Boxing Day. Steve, how do you pick apart these? Another match at the top end?
So I love Galopin de Champs, and I love Galopin de Champs at Leopardstown. I think he's a better horse there than even what he is at Cheltenham. But I keep coming back to the reason why he's beaten in the John Durham for the last few years. Is it Punchestown? Is it the 2.5 mile trip? Or is it his reappearance run? And the latter would be enough for me to be put off Galopin de Champs, as well as the fact that he's had a setback. I thought they were going to go the Tremor Gold Cup route, the old album photo route. I think it's probably a positive if they do come here.
Is he definitely running in the Savills?
I don't know. I think obviously the market is all changed with Factor File going for the King George, and you obviously is then shortened up, I Know the Way You're Thinking, and Galopin. But it was my thought beforehand that Galopin would be heading to Tremor. Whether they've seen the whole fact of the fact that Factor File isn't going to run in it, they're going to then reroute Galopin. But it would just be slightly off-putting for me, his form fresh as opposed to his Leopardstown form. I know where you're thinking we'll continue his progression towards the Cheltenham Gold Cup. I think he's going to run here again. He'll run in the Irish Gold Cup, and they're just going to bring him on slowly, as they did last year. And I just thought the bet at the prices was fast or slow, to be honest. He was the only one that tried to get anywhere near Gaelic Warrior and Factor File in the John Durkan on his reappearance. That was after 264 days off the track. Finished within 4.5 lengths of Galopin Des Champs in the Irish Gold Cup at the track a couple of years ago, so has good Leopardstown form. He's a really good jumper, has the blend of speed and stamina that I think you want for this race as well. And at 4-1, you can still get 3 places anti-posts on the race. And I thought he was a knock-in each way bet against horses that you know are going to step forward from that first run.
Yeah, I mean, especially if Galloping doesn't turn up, which I was told he's not going to run in the race, he's going to go to Tremor. So I wish we did know more about these horses for big races earlier on, so we could actually get more information out there to the public and people could get stuck into them betting-wise. Obviously, GDC needs no introduction. Another horse who broke my heart last year in the Gold Cup. I couldn't believe I know the way you're thinking.
How many horses broke your heart last year?
I'd say out of...
Or this year even?
Well, last year it was really Tiapu and Galopin Des Champs. They're the two that I really went heavy on. I mean, I had a great bet of 4-1 GDC for the Gold Cup. And I remember watching Betfair before the off, and he drifted from 1.6 to 198. And I said to a mate of mine, he's beat. And he went, what do you mean? I went, he's definitely beat. Horses don't drift in grade ones like that. So I reckon there was something wrong with him in the Gold Cup myself. He wasn't the horse that we know and love. I think they've probably got him back to his best now. But again, I'd be with Steve here. If he does line up, I'd want to take him on because he normally needs his first run of the year. He's a big, stocky, gross horse. And the way Willies are running, boy, I'd say this would probably take a good blow as well. I was there at the John Durkan last year when he got beat. He came back into the parade ring and he was blowing like a steam train all over the place. And that's when I nipped into the Ladbrokes on course and took all the 4-1 and 6-1 for the Gold Cup. And he proved me right. Like, it was a great bet at the time. But I can't work out, I know the way you're thinking. I still can't believe the way he won the Gold Cup. And there seems to be a lot of confidence from Gavin Cromwell that he won't be beat 50 lengths this time. He's cherry ripe for today. That's why JP split the two up, Factor File. They know I know the way you're thinking's coming there in top form and they expect him to win. I've been a bit disappointed with Fast or Slow recently. He's been a horse who's always promised to be, you know, one of those terrific grade 1 performers, but seems to dip in and out of form at times. But I get your thinking behind the each way punt there. I think he's solid and, you know, the race is going to cut up into a terrible state, and if GDC doesn't line up, you've got one hell of a bet. At this stage, for me, it's a complete guessing game. No real opinion. Would love to see Galloping turn up, but I don't think he will. It's too big a price if he does.
Well, that's what, you know, the good thing is there. Just anyone listening or watching might be back in Galopin now. Just wait, because
absolutely.
your money's done if he doesn't line up. And
be interesting to see Jerry Cologne back.
Yeah.
You know, Jerry was a really high class horse on his day.
20-1.
Yeah. I know Gordon said it's very hard to get these horses back into top class grade 1 form after an injury. And you go back to Sir Gino there, don't you, really, in that instance? But a 2-mile hurdler against a 3.25 mile chaser, 2 different kettles of fish. But, you know, if Jerry was half fit, you could see him nicking a place at 20-1.
Yeah, I'd prefer to run here than at Tremor. I think you'd hate Tremor. Like, Tremor's, you're constantly turning. Yeah. And it's basically a speed track over, dependent on what trip you're over. And I just think he'd get left behind at Tremor. So I would prefer him for his long-term future coming back to run in this race.
Who do you fancy for the Gold Cup at this stage?
I'd be with Galopin Des Champs. Yeah. In the hope of a bit of softer ground. I think it was more the ground than anything last year that probably got him beaten. Yeah. But again, a horse after a setback, you'd want to see him on his first run. But
yeah, I think that win at the end of the year at Punchestown was unbelievable, and I still can't believe he was even money on the day. Yeah. The old blogger Christmas Bank came out to play, and I've reinvested at 6-1 for the Gold Cup this year. Yeah.
And you'll be running to the Ladbrokes on course after he's taking a blow and been beaten on the 28th.
Maybe.
Priced up, I know the way you're thinking, it's 7-2 favourite for the Gold Cup at this stage. Galopin Des Champs is 6-1, Gaelic Warrior 8-1, Factor File 12-1, Grey Dawning 12-1, Django Bay 16-1, 20-1, bar those. Anything else to kind of pick apart there?
No, not for me, not at all. Nothing in the league of those horses.
Just Galopin?
Yeah, just focus on that.
If Gaelic Warrior wins the King George from being held up, I think he'd be a proper Gold Cup contender.
Oh, I agree, 100%.
If he's given the ride that he was at Aintree in the Bowl when Patrick Mullins smuggled him into the race, I think he'd have a right chance in a Gold Cup because he does come alive at the Cheltenham Festival. But given how headstrong he was in the John Durkan, you'd want to see the tactics employed and whether he can be held up in a Gold Cup. Yeah. But I know Patrick Mullins obviously rode him really well at Aintree, but I think Paul Townend is important on him. And he's not going to be getting off Galopin.
No, not at all. Not in a million years.
Okay, we've got the December hurdle on the 29th, the only race on the card that we can preview here, where Lossiemouth is the 2-1 favourite Ahead of Brighter Days Ahead, who needs to be supplemented, who's currently 100-30. Amsterdam 5-1. Woodhoo is 6-1. 16-1 bar those. Anything here, Steve?
I love Woodhoo as a horse, but I don't think she's a 2 mile. I think she's a 2.5 miler. I like her for the mares. Now that it's been switched to the new course on the Thursday as opposed to the Tuesday, I think that will suit her perfectly. I think Lossiemouth will win this. I imagine she may be more workmanlike than what people are expecting at the prices. I think she is a horse that comes alive in March. Obviously won the Triumph, won a couple of mares hurdles, and they've been the best performances of her career. So I wouldn't look at backing her at 2s on for this, but I think what I would be doing is hovering around that champion hurdle market. If she wins this by a couple of lengths to Brighter Days Ahead, I think a few bookmakers might think, ooh, that wasn't as impressive as we were expecting, and may push her out. I was with her for the champion hurdle last year. Obviously, they went for the mares hurdle instead, and I'm going to be with her again this year in the hope that she does run in it.
Where do you compare her to the greats like Honeysuckle and Annie Power at this stage?
I think she's got the potential to be there. The thing around her is we don't know how good she is. The one time that we were trying to find that out was against Constitution Hill, where the Lossiemouth of old, when she's keen throughout her races, she jumps really well. She was beaten before she even got to the first hurdle that day. As soon as Paul Townend started niggling her, you thought she's not on a going day today. You don't know how good she is. Is she going to be up to the level of Annie Power? I don't think so. Annie was one of my favourite horses.
Unbelievable racehorse.
But I do think March, quicker ground and everything is important to Lossiemouth. And I think she'll win this. But
I'm just going to put it out there now. I reckon they'll run her in the mares again. They'll break all our hearts and do it again, because Rich will want to win a race and it'll be 3 mares hurdles in a row. I just know they're going to do it.
And she's that young. If you win a Triumph hurdle, you've then won the 2 mares. She could bid to emulate Corvega and win 6 in a row, 5 in a row.
Willie's a creature of habit. He likes to do the same thing over and over again.
Yeah.
Listen, she obviously should run in the champion hurdle, but if Sir Gino comes out and absolutely hacks up, Willie's boots might start shaking a little bit, so we'll have to see what happens. As far as 2-1 on shots do go, I think she's one of the best ones you'll see, because Gordon's mare, she's so disappointing in the last 2 runs, and can he get her back to running to those peak performances? I'm not so sure. I think this is a cakewalk. And again, we go back to Willie's horses needing a run. I know she beat nothing in the trial there, but it was the mannerism, the way she done it, the enthusiasm, winning by 20 lengths. I think Paul will be straight to the front. If Brighter Days Ahead wants to try and do that, Paul will sit in behind, and I could see her winning this by 10 lengths. I can't see Anzam lining up either, so I think the race will cut up. And as far as anti-post bets go for Cheltenham, you're a brave man to get stuck into one or the other at this stage.
Yeah, I'll run through the markets quickly. The mares hurdle, Woodhoo is the 7-4 favourite, ahead of Lossiemouth, who's 5-2. Jade Grugy 8-1. Brighter Days Ahead, 6-1. Cargesi 12-1. 16-1 bar those. And for the champion hurdle, Lossiemouth is Fab 15-8, ahead of Sir Gino at 3-1. The New Lion is 5-1. William Money 11-1. Golden Ace and Constitution Hill both 14-1.
14-1, eh?
So you could do a few sort of related doubles.
Oh, God, poor horse. I don't know. God forbid anything does happen to him on a racecourse. God forbid he falls again and hurts himself. I just don't want to see it.
When do you reckon we'll see him again?
The fact that Nicky's taken a pull and he's not going to run over Christmas suggests to me that he's going to go on the flat.
Do you think so?
Yeah, I think he has to. You can't run this horse over hurdles at this stage. You can't. You've got to get some confidence into him.
Really?
Yeah, I don't think.
Can you imagine the public uproar if something happens to this horse after 3 falls? It would be shocking for the sport of horse racing. You just can't do it. I don't know what's gone wrong with that animal, and Nicky doesn't know what's gone wrong with him. There's something clearly wrong, and he's got to have a run on the flat and just take the steam out of him,
Interesting. We
Tragic.
will see. Yeah.
The greatest since Isterac. Just unbelievable. Horse just doesn't open his eyes when he jumps.
I know. What Nick always says is just too easy for him. Doesn't concentrate, just turns off.
Yeah, well, wake up, mate. Wake up. It must hurt when you fall. Wake up.
Yeah.
Just don't get the horse anymore. Yeah, shame. But Lossiemouth, what a horse. 3 Cheltenham Festival wins in a row. I think she's an underrated mare still at this stage. She doesn't seem to have captivated the public's limelight like Honeysuckle and Annie Power. And, hopefully they do the right thing and run her in the champion hurdle and don't bottle it. So come on, Willie, don't bottle it, baby.
You could do a few sort of related doubles there.
Did you just call Willie baby?
Oh, come on, baby,
You could do, for example, Lossiemouth in the champion, Woodhoo in the mares, and then also do a Sir Gino in the champion hurdle, Lossiemouth in the mares. Do a few kind of
related
bits
doubles.
in there. Yeah. depending on
the sponsors
where
love
you
it,
actually
right
think.
I mean, surely Woodoo's not actually going to run in that race, is she?
No, not if they're going to supplement Bright Days Ahead.
Yeah.
I know she's Danny Gilligan's ride, isn't she? So the fact that Jack will ride Bright Days Ahead doesn't really come into it. But I'd worry about her over 2 miles. Even in that Ascot race, she was kind of off the bridle round the bend. And
What do you make of the fact that Gordon's entered Brighter Days Ahead in the Novice Chase as well at the same time? It's a bit weird, isn't it? Either you're going for the hurdle or you're not.
Yeah.
I don't get that myself. Shows a lack of confidence to me.
Well, Brighter Days Ahead, she's definitely going chasing.
Yeah.
Oh, she's had a little niggle.
Yeah.
We're going to go back to hurdles.
Yeah.
The whole thing with her, I wouldn't dream of backing her.
Yeah. Same. Sadly.
Okay. Final race. We're popping over to Chepstow now. Going back in time to the 27th of December for the Welsh National. Blogger will be there. Jubilee Express is a 6-to-1 favourite, priced up as it stands with Mr. Vango at 7-to-1. We've got Haiti Color at 15-2, Gitmaker and O'Connell and Rock My Way and Showman Uchi or 8-to-1, 12-to-1 Intense Raffles, 14-to-1 Collector's Item, 16-to-1 Bar. I'm sure, Blogsy, you've been all over this, given you're going to be there. Who's your fancy?
I've had a few quid on Iron Bridge at 33-1 for John O'Neill.
Here we go.
Who was second to Naslam last year. He's £10 better off in the weights. Ran a really beautiful race at Carlisle last time out, just got beaten a photo finish. John Joe's horses have been running absolutely shocking this year. So for him to run well when the yard's been under a cloud, nothing came to fruition for the actual reason why they've been running so badly. I think he's tailor-made for the race, and the fact he was second last year, I think he'll give people a great run for their money. He's been reported to be on target for the race, and I think there's a lot to like about the horse at the price. Iron Bridge.
20-1 priced up as it stands.
Been nibbled already.
No more 33s about.
Okay.
The Blogger millions. Moving markets.
The 100 each way moved there.
Steve?
Yeah, that is basically a unique test at Chepstow, so I completely see where Blogger's coming from. I'd probably go back to Nassalam for the similar sort of reasons is you know that the test will suit him. Now, I don't know what price he is. It was a little bit of a gamble with the sort of 33s, 50s, I think is around 20-1 now, Nassalam, but has form figures of P0, P, 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 P. So not exactly coming into the racing in great form, but has won this by 34 lengths in 2023. He's finally dropped back down to a mark of 145. Now, we ran at both the October and the November meetings at Cheltenham. Actually ran better than his finishing position suggested that day. They did go back to blinkers last time, which I'd have preferred if they didn't and they'd held it back for this race. But he's had a wind operation since the last run, and you can basically know that heavy ground, Chepstow, this will have been the target. I think you can obviously respect the Sam Thomas, Di Walters horses, Jubilee Express and Show Manucci, proud Welshman. Di Walters is going to want horses targeted at this race, but just at the prices, I would have preferred Nassalam.
Okay.
We've got the 1-2 from last year.
Easy.
The reverse forecast.
2 years ago.
2 years ago.
16-1 Nassalam. Is that going to happen again? 16-1 Nassalam and 20-1 there for Iron Bridge for Blogsy. There we have it. That is our whistle-stop tour of the Christmas racing schedule across Kempton, Leopardstown, and where else did we go? Chepstow. Blogger's going to be at all of them.
I am. It's going to be a great road trip. I got in early, booked up all the flights. I'm going to do a bit of a madness. 6 days racing in a row. Announced my comeback in the UK. I thought, what a time to do it. I've never been to Cheltenham for the New Year's Day meeting. Have either of you?
Nope.
No. So I thought I'd start the new year in good fashion and go to Cheltenham. Looking forward to being at Leopardstown for the Savills and the December hurdle, and hopefully seeing a vintage King George. So it'll be exciting.
Where are you going to be watching it?
At home.
Smart move.
On the TV.
Nice and warm.
So I have to give a selection in every UK race for the Mail. And last year there were 77 races on Boxing Day in the UK.
How many winners?
77. I think there's only 56 races in the UK on Boxing Day this year, so it's going to be easy work for me.
I have more pints of Guinness. Your Blogger over the course of those.
Blogger's definitely odds on favourite for that.
It's going to be messy. It's going to be messy.
Brilliant. If you haven't already got a Priced Up account, go to pricedup.bet, sign up for one there. Brilliant offering, loads of offering across different sports and the Price Boost page, meaning you're getting cracking value every day of racing. And look out for these guys' selections because we'll be sending them over to the guys and hoping that they can push them out and do the Priced Up thing with them. Oddschecker have you covered for all your fixed odds betting needs. Bookie offers free bets, plenty of other stuff up there too, including Andy Holdings tips every single day of racing. So thank you to Andy for joining us earlier. Enjoy what should be an incredible week of racing. Have a great Christmas. Have a brilliant New Year. We'll be back with the Cheltenham Roar in the new year, looking ahead to a festival in March that's just around the corner. Cannot wait. Have a great Christmas, and we'll see you then.